Film fans of YouTube, hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Josh, I am a movie apprentice, and today, September, has just been and gone, and last month there were 12 new movies that I saw, so once again we are back with a good old tier list, so I can give my brief thoughts on every movie and where I'd rank it in terms of my personal scaling. Starting from the top, we have must-see cinema, which are films that I think, if you're a film fan, watch these movies. We have physical purchase, which are films that I would love to own on a physical Blu-ray or 4K DVD. We have the Glad I Watched tier, which are really good movies that I can't see myself going out of my way to watch again. Then we have Worth a Stream, which for me, these are films that are nice background noise, easily digestible films that I won't go out of my way to watch. But if they're on, I'll give them a look. Then we have the Not For Me tier. These are the films that I do not like personally, but I can see why other people do like them. And then finally, we have Do Not Watch, which are films that I can't comprehend how anyone can enjoy these movies. And these are the worst of the bunch, basically. So, without further ado, let's jump right in as there are 12 movies to get through. So, starting off with, we have Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. Now, I don't think it lives up to the original one. I feel like it's very overcrowded, but I do love that it kept the aesthetic of the original. Didn't even try to update things to make them look more modern. It stuck with that campy 80s CGI style. And I felt it was a very, very good movie in there, but it felt very overstuffed. And as I said in my review, Tim Burton needs to start randomly putting his partners in his movies. However, I did enjoy myself watching it. So with this, I'm gonna have to say this is probably a worth a stream movie for me because I would watch it again, but it's not something I'm gonna go out of my way to watch. So that's where we're gonna put this one. Now, Hellboy the Crooked Man, this is a film that I was very curious to check out. And whilst I did enjoy the culty Appalachian folklore that is featured heavily in this, as it's mainly set within the Appalachian Mountains, it does unfortunately fall short on many other fronts. Hellboy feels like he's just there to basically just respond to the plot rather than engage with it. There is a lot of weird camera cuts and edits. It is a very dark movie as well, not just in tone, but just in terms of the visuals as well. Felt like it was the darkest movie since Alien vs Predator Requiem. Like you couldn't see a lot that was going on. And it just wasn't the movie that I found myself really vibing with, though I feel there is an audience out there for this movie. So I'm gonna have to say that Hellboy the Crooked Man, that is going to be on the not for me tier. I didn't enjoy it personally, but if you enjoyed it, then more power to you. So that's where we're going to put that one. Now, Lee, I got a nice spicy comment on my review for this one, and it seems that a lot of people are enjoying it, and I'm in the minority with this one. Unfortunately, whilst I didn't hate Lee by any stretch of the imagination, it's one of those films that I just feel like it had potential to be a truly amazing piece of cinema, and I fell short of the expectations for me. Kate Winslet is great, but I feel like it doesn't focus enough on her photographs, which is what she is known for, and gives us this weird third act reveal that just doesn't work for me in the long haul. And it's a difficult one to place on my tiers because I can't see myself going out my way to watch it again. But it was one that I did enjoy, and there were some strong elements to it. I'm gonna have to say I would put this on worth a stream because I can't say I didn't like the movie, but it is riding that line between the worth a stream and the not for me tier. So we're gonna put this one below Beetlejuice, but definitely above Hellboy the Crooked Man. Megaopolis. Yeah, just Francis Ford Coppola has brought us some of the greatest movies of all time. Obviously, The Godfather and Apocalypse Now, as well as Bram Stoker's Dracula. But this is just a mess. This is a 2.5 hour long movie and I could not begin to tell you what this movie is about. He put a lot into this movie, but the CG elements and the high fantasy sci-fi element of it, it felt very convoluted. It felt like the film was spending way too much time talking smart and talking philosophical, but without ever truly saying anything. And the fact that to compare to The Godfather slightly, in The Godfather, in the first half hour of that movie, just it's just a wedding reception. But during that whole first half hour, we get to know the key players, what their roles are, what their morals are, what their stories are going to be. This film could have really done with that because I could not tell you anything about any of the characters in this movie, and it's just a very frustrating movie to watch. There's gonna be defenders of this movie, but for me, I wasted over 2 hours of my life watching this. This is going on a do not watch because 120 million is what this was budgeted at. And I believe in the opening weekend it made about 4 million. Obviously, that number's probably gone up worldwide, but yeah, very undermarketed, and you can see exactly why, as it is a travesty of a movie, which is a shame because the cast involved is stacked, completely stacked. Never Let Go. This is the last movie I saw for this September. I've actually just got back from the cinema watching this movie, and it is an interesting movie. I don't think it's terrible by any stretch of the imagination, but it feels like there are two paths it could have taken. And unfortunately, it tried to take both paths at the exact same time, and sadly, neither feels fully fleshed out or realized. It's a very boring for the first half, then a big moment happens, and suddenly it's very engaging. Then it takes them two paths at the exact same time, and they just don't mix well together. It's a movie that I just thought was very middle of the road. I would definitely say that Never Let Go is worth a stream, but no more than that. Definitely putting it below Beetlejuice, but above Lee, in my personal opinion. The Outrun, the new Saoirse Ronan movie that has almost gone by the wayside. Apparently, Saoirse Ronan is getting pushed potentially for a Best Actress nomination in this movie, and she is absolutely phenomenal. It's a movie that I don't feel like is for everybody, but for me, I just loved how intimate the story was and how educational it was. I believe my review of this will have just gone up by the time this video comes out. Um, I recommend watching this movie, definitely giving it a shot. It's a movie that I am very happy I saw. That being said, do I see myself watching it again? Probably not. It is one of those films that you have to kind of be in the right mood to watch. And I can't see myself going out of my way to watch it when I'm in that mood because there are other movies I'd probably watch instead. That being said, though, The Outrun is definitely one of those glad I watched sort of movies. It's the same for Strange Darling. This is a film that I admired its execution and the way it told its story. I like the out of sequence narrative it told, but unfortunately, it comes down like a Jenga tower when we get into like the sort of final 20 to 30 minutes because the premise it sets out at the start of being a loose recreation based on witness reports. By the end of the film, 99% of these so called witnesses are no longer with us and deceased. So there is no way half of this would even get put onto the movie based on that original premise. The two performances in this are brilliant. And again, I loved how vibrant the film was and how stylistically shot it was. It's a very fun film, but it feels like it's missing that little bit of something to push it over the edge for me. This is another one of those glad I watched kind of movies. It's definitely something that I wouldn't just have in the background. Like I would happily watch this again. I am really glad I watched this, but it's not something I can see myself ever get on physical, really. So this is going straight into the glad I watched tier, definitely below the Outrun, but not too much further behind it. Ah, yes, The Substance. This bonkers movie that could have easily been my favorite of the year had it not been for the fact that it lulls and drags itself out a little too much and doesn't know when to quit. This is a fantastic movie. If you're a film fan, go watch it. It's a weird movie, but its themes are really good. Its body horror is absolutely fantastic. The set designs, the cinematography, the sound design. This is a perfect storm of a movie. Like, definitely go check it out. The Substance. If you haven't tried The Substance yet, then have yourself a little dose or two. My Old Ass is a film that hasn't been heavily marketed over here in the UK, which is a shame because this is one of the most unique and original feeling coming of age stories I've seen in a long time. It is both funny, but has them deep philosophical conversations that you wouldn't expect to see in a coming of age movie. And the themes of what we would ask our younger selves or what we would tell our younger selves to do is something that's very strong. And I just love how this film plays out. It felt very fresh when it came to the young adult genre. I really enjoyed My Old Ass, and it's one that I will say definitely check out if you can because it doesn't feel like it's getting enough marketing, hasn't been getting enough love. Definitely give it a look, and I would happily own this on Blu-ray. This is going straight into the physical purchase. Speak No Evil, the remake of a Danish movie starring James McAvoy, who does a fantastic psychopath. We know he can do fantastic at this. And unfortunately, whilst it's heavily marketed on the psychopathic tendencies, it does mean you go into this movie and you're not at all shocked with how it kind of plays out. And there are a number of situations where there is no reason the family would have stuck around, and there's not any characters that I can really like in this movie. It has its entertaining factors, it has its fun moments, but for me, this is another one of those background noise kind of movies for me. It's a film that I enjoyed watching, but can't see myself going out my way to watch. If it's on streaming though, and someone wants to watch it, I'm down for a rewatch, but that's mainly due to James McAvoy's fantastic performance. The Critic, starring Ian McKellen. This is a film that I went into expecting one thing, came up with something completely different. I usually like it when a film does that and subverts my expectations and tells me a whole different story. However, it feels very jumbled up, and some elements of the film just don't feel as fleshed out as they probably could have. Ian McKellen plays this great slimeball character, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head much that really happens in this movie in hindsight. It does feel like there was this frustrating element about it that dragged it down for me. I mean, there's not really much I can say off the top of my head about this film. It's one that I have almost already forgotten, but I did enjoy watching it. And I will say Ian McKellen's performance in this is outstanding. This has been a very mid month. This is another one of those worth a stream kind of movies. Looking at that tier, I would probably put it at the bottom of this tier because at least with the other films that are above it, there are things that really stick out in my memory about those films. But this one, there is very little that sticks out compared to those other four. So it's going at the bottom of the worth a stream tier. And finally, we get to the only new Netflix release that I watched this month, and that is Uglies. The young adult craze died in the mid 2010s. Yeah, for some reason, they're trying to bring it back in this movie, and the concept just works much better as a book, I think, because one way or the other, like if you casted ugly people by society standards as the uglies, you would probably get shamed for being very bullying, I would say. Like there's probably a special word for it, but basically if you're casting people for just being ugly, then there would have been a storm on social media about it. But unfortunately, on the flip side, you can't really buy any of these actors as ugly, and it's another one of those cliffhanger ending young adult films that unfortunately doesn't do enough to connect with the audience emotionally. Like maybe I'm too old for this genre, but the young adult film craze had its highlights, but there are a number of carbon copy dystopian dime a dozen movies that came out and books that came out, and this is one of those. This is one of those that I personally didn't enjoy, but it definitely will have its audience out there. So this is going to go into that not for me tier. Above Megaopolis, but definitely the second weakest film I've watched in September. So that is my tier list for the new September releases I watched. There were 12 in all that I got round to. I know there have been some others, but unfortunately I didn't get round to watching those. And these are the ones that I was able to get to within a reasonable time slot. If you've enjoyed what you've seen today, click the like button and subscribe for more video reviews, tier lists, and sometimes even a video essay or two coming all the time. And until next time, everybody, I am Josh, I be Movie Apprentice, and I'll see you all in the next video.